Welcome everyone, today is Sunday. We are in the weekend, but even though we have been excitedly talking about some of the new things coming in 10.1, it's good not to forget that before 10.1 we actually are supposed to get another patch, right? The one called 10.0.7, which is going to bring a few things to the game. Some players might be excited for the new zone, the new recycled zone of the Forbidden Reach. There is some stuff to do in there, but also what was going to come in 10.0.7 was some changes to some specs. Many players are excitedly waiting for the rework happening to Retribution Paladin, which is also going to give some new things to Holy Paladins and to Prot Paladins, but there is a thing that was buried under the news of 10.1, which is the further set of nerfs to Preservation Evoker. Preservation Evoker is the default, standard, premier healer for this first season of Dragonflight. They have been the best overall healer in the raid and the best overall healer in Mythic Plus. So they have been topping the rankings of healers. Many players have been asking for nerfs to Preservation Evoker over time, and we have been getting nerfs to Preservation Evoker over time. We have started a little bit over a month ago in some of the hotfixes of February with a 5% healing nerf to Preservation Evoker. Now, according to many, this was a slap on the wrist for Evoker because it wasn't really going to change much for the spec. Then we had some more nerfs planned for 10.0.7. That's where Blizzard clearly ramped up the nerfs coming, because you had the nerf to temporal anomalies healing being reduced by 20%, as well as the resonating sphere, the talent attached to temporal anomaly, applies echoes to the first 4 allies hit instead of the first 6. This was the first nerf that we talked a few days ago that was announced by Blizzard. So we had been talking about how much this nerf was going to impact Evoker, how bad it was. However, as of a few days ago, now the nerfs have been piled on, because now we have some extra nerfs hitting Evoker. Number 1, when Lifeline is applied through a lower value echo with temporal anomaly, its healing value is reduced to match the value of the echo. Number 2, when Golden Hour is applied through a lower value echo with temporal anomaly, its healing value is reduced to match the value of the echo. These nerfs are huge, and just in case you're not playing Evoker, all you know is that Evoker is OP, but you don't quite know how they manage all of their OPness. What happens with temporal anomaly is that they apply echo, which is the ability that allows the Evoker to duplicate one of their heals. So if I use Dream Breath on you, you get a Dream Breath. If I use Dream Breath on you while you have my own echo casted on you, you get 2 Dream Breaths. Very simple. If you apply echo not by yourself but through temporal anomaly with this talent, the echo will be weaker, almost 50% weaker than a properly casted echo. What Evokers were able to do was to cheat this weaker echo by proccing something that would bypass this, in this case Lifebind. Lifebind would proc whenever you would cast Verdant Embrace. If you have echo on a player, you Verdant Embrace. Verdant Embrace is duplicated on all the players with echo. Even if the echo was 50% weaker, Verdant Embrace would still be casted and it would still be proc Lifebind at its full value. The same goes for Golden Hour. Golden Hour makes you heal for 15% of all the damage you took in the past 5 seconds. It does not matter if you're casting Reversion by yourself or if you're casting Reversion through duplicating it with Echo. Golden Hour was still going to work at its full effectiveness. With these nerfs, this is basically going to also make these extra effects, which were previously working at 100% effectiveness, even if they were generated through an echo which was supposed to be weaker, now these are also going to follow the same logic. If they are generated through a weaker echo generated by temporal anomaly, those effects will also be weaker by themselves. So now Evoker finds itself in a situation where in the initial nerf, their temporal anomaly heals for 20% less, which can be as high as a 4% healing nerf. And then they also have temporal anomaly giving you 4 echoes instead of 6. So now you're gonna get 33-ish% less echoes out when you cast temporal anomaly. And now you also have this nerf. The nerf to Golden Hour is not massive. Number one, because you're not gonna use it too often, and also because it wasn't going to generate too much healing anyways. Even if you were making use of reversion a lot, this Golden Hour can be as high as a 1%, 1.5% at best healing nerf. For Evoker, what is heavier of a nerf, of course, is the nerf to Lifebind, because you're spreading your echoes with temporal anomaly, and now Lifebind's healing is going to be affected by the power of the original echo, and the echoes from temporal anomaly are roughly 50% weaker than your original echoes. So it's gonna be a significant hit to the power of Evoker. If you clamp all of the nerfs together, you start from the 5% healing nerf and then the 4% healing nerf to temporal anomaly, cutting the temporal anomaly echoes from 6 to 4, and then the nerfs to both Golden Hour and to Lifebind. This goes above a 15% healing nerf, even towards, if you were playing, of course, more around Lifebind as an Evoker, it can be even a 20 or 22 or even more % healing nerf overall in the raid. So this leads us to 2 questions. Number 1, is Evoker dead? Number 2, is Evoker dead in Mythic Plus as well? Because of course many of these changes are going to be hitting more a wide number of players, which is not nearly as bad in Mythic Plus. So these changes are not nearly as hurtful in Mythic Plus. They are still, of course, healing nerfs, so Evoker will be hurt in Mythic Plus, but not even remotely close, we can say, to the damage it has received in the raid. General answer, no, it's not that hurtful in Mythic Plus. For the raid, it's a much more interesting question. Its HPS is being cut down dramatically. You also have to consider that at the same time, Mistweaver, I know it's a meme, but still, Mistweaver has been buffed significantly more and more. Holy Paladin will have also a pretty good buff in 10.0.7 through the reworks of the General tree. Restoration Shaman also has kept getting buffed as well, and will continue to get buffed in 10.0.7. They are more liable to get caught up by other healers in terms of power in the raid. This has also led Evokers to try a new avenue of opium, which is the Emerald Blossom build. The Emerald Blossom build has been buffed a couple of times over time, not massively. The Ouroboros talent has been buffed, the Fluttering Seedlings of the Blossom build have been buffed by 20%, and now, of course, the other build of Evoker has been nerfed significantly. That is perhaps one of the few options that is also on the rise for 10.0.7. It would be much more understandable, much more logical if, with the patch coming and also getting ready for 10.1, we would be starting to see a few more Evokers in the raid starting to try out the Emerald Blossom build in the future, with this set of heavy nerfs coming their way in patch 10.0.7. It is perhaps a little bit sad, as I said it before. I would have been much happier with Blizzard if, instead of nerfing the mechanics of a spec, forcing them to play differently, they simply nerfed the healing of the spec. I think it would have been much better if the nerfs would have just read Dream Breath healing nerfed by 15%, Reversion healing nerfed by 15%, Rewind healing nerfed by 20%, and what have you, Lifebind healing nerfed by 15%. Any amount of number that would make the healing the same as these nerfs without going to touch the mechanics of the spec, how they play, you know, how they prep for their healing, etc, etc, because this one is also going to do that. This one is also going to make the spec effectively worse to play, which I think it's the wrong approach to go at when you're trying to nerf a spec, especially a spec as diverse and fun to play as Evoker is. I think that's been an oversight from Blizzard to nerf them this way, So sadly, this has been the point of the video for this Sunday, trying to figure out just how heavy and just how impactful these nerfs are going to be for Preservation Evoker. Now, with this out of the way, of course, what is left to do is to wait for the 10.0.7 patch to come out and just to see what impact it is going to have on Evokers in general. At this point, it's just a few days away, about 10 days away, so we don't have to wait for too much. With this out of the way, however, I am going to leave you to the rest of your Sunday. You guys are, of course, free to leave behind your comments and your thoughts about how do you think Evokers should have been nerfed, or if you are perfectly fine with the nerfs you have seen so far for them because you were sick of the power of Evokers, so you didn't really care how much they were going to be nerfed or how they were going to be nerfed, as long as it was impactful enough. So let me guys know about that in the comments. I'm going to leave you, of course, by also thanking all of my Patreon supporters for the contribution and the help to the growth of this channel. You can do many things to support the channel for free, liking and commenting down below, subscribing to the channel itself. You can also follow me over on Twitter as well, followed also by following me over on my stream over on Twitch. And with this, we are done with. So thank you guys again for watching. See you guys soon. And I think it's a couple of minutes longer than what I wanted, but I'll still mark it down as a win.